Part 32. My Love Simulation with Them. Author, Chiudeo Udaziiwei. Chapter 312. Nang Xiangxi is definitely one of a kind. Even Yi Jizinga had a bad feeling. Could it be that it was already happening without him knowing it? Has my sister already fallen into Nang Xiang's trap? No, 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 no. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Although on the surface, he maintains an arrogant expression that is indifferent to everyone. But Yuji knew that Xinj was actually a very well-hidden girl control. At this time, her mood was like a stormy sea. It just so happened that at this time, Hiroi Kairi, who was playing with her cell phone next to her, also heard Ichiki Hakeza's voice. She narrowed her eyes and turned her head cheerfully. Accompanying senior to purchase goods? That's okay. I have no problem. Shut up. Hey? Senior, why are you trying to hurt me? I really didn't understand that. I just wanted to help, so I was yelled at for no reason, and Hiroi Kairi opened her mouth in comprehension. But now Yi Jizinga can no longer care about this. She turned her gaze away. In short, it doesn't work. If that's the case, then I will go buy the ingredients with you, and then Hongxia will accompany me to purchase the goods. It's okay, it's okay. Yuji Hongxia didn't quite understand why her sister went out of her way to make a big circle. Compared to her, Nang Xiangxi next to her smiled. He noticed something. But after all, Yi Jixinj is considered an elder and takes good care of him. So he didn't say anything, smiled and took the initiative to lead the way. It doesn't take long to get from Stars to the nearest supermarket. Yi Jizinga didn't speak along the way, but walked behind, silently observing the interaction between his sister and Nang Xiangxi. She still didn't want to believe it. My sister, who had never been attracted to anyone else since she was a child, would actually fall here. But she noticed something was wrong just by looking at it. Because I have been through this journey. Itaki Hongxia was also looking at the surrounding products. But his eyes were mainly focused on Nang Xiangxi's hang beside him. Although my sister was hiding it consciously, her gaze was not so intentional. But in the eyes of Yi Jizinga, who had been with her for 17 years, this behavior was so conspicuous that it was impossible to hide it. Sometimes, she could even see the shy blush on her sister's fair face after she accidentally had some physical contact with Nan Xiang. That expression was not simply an expression of embarrassment about being in contact with the opposite sex, but a deeper, shy expression of being moved by the idea of physical contact. It's over. Yi Jizinga's heart suddenly felt cold. Even if she has never been in love, she has basically determined it. My sister really fell into Nang Xiangxi's trap without her knowing it. Why does it have to be Nang Xiang time? Yi Jizinga put her hand on her smooth forehead and felt a headache. Yes. Why did it happen to be that time in Nang Xiang? Isn't it just that he looks better, his academic performance is better, and his musical talent is stronger? He speaks more humorously, and his actions are more mature and steady than those of his peers, and he is very reliable. No, no, no. Why do I think about all the advantages of Nang Xiang? You should think about his shortcomings at this time, right? Yi Jizinga knocked on his head, trying to pour out some bad impressions about Nang Xiang from his mind. But no. Absolutely not. Except for Goto Kazuri and Yamada Ryo, both like Nango Toki and are a little narcissistic. She could hardly find any shortcomings in this young man. Yi Jizinga was struggling behind. Nang Xiangxi in front has completed the purchase of all ingredients. So be it. After settling the money, Nang Xiangxi carried 2 large bags of ingredients and smiled and said to Yi Hongxia, "Next, Hongxia will accompany the store manager to purchase the goods. I will take the first step." He raised his hand to Yi Hongxia, then smiled and nodded to Yi Xingji, "See you later." Ah, good. Yujizi Hongxia stopped and murmured to himself while agreeing. Did you actually buy it all so quickly? Originally, she wanted to say a few more words to Nang Xiangxi. I sighed a little in my heart. Yujizi Hongxia still had the same smile on her face. See you later, Toki-kun. Farewell is over. Yujizi Hongxia watched the young man walking back towards the road in the shadow of the setting sun. He waited until the other party completely disappeared from sight before turning his head. Sister, let's go. Yuji Zinga did not answer her question. Huh? What's wrong? Sister. Still no reply. This made Yuji Hongxia look back a little strangely. Although my sister usually has a cold attitude like everyone owes me 2.5 million. But when I talk to her, the other party will still respond. But today, Yujizi Hongxia was a little confused and planned to speak again. Hongxia. Itakazinga, who had been silent all this time, finally spoke. She raised her head and looked at Yuji Hongxia. Yujizi Hongxia blinked her eyes. Why is my sister so serious all of a sudden? You like that boy from Nangxiang, right? Why? The words that suddenly came from my sister's mouth. The expression of Yujizi Hongxia, who was originally a little confused, suddenly changed. The bright red eyes quickly flashed with astonishment. At the same time, his breathing became slightly heavier and his eyes moved away unnaturally at this moment. What are you talking about? Sister. She spoke shyly and angrily, hoping to change the subject. But the next second, Yujizi Zinga shook his head without hesitation and exposed his sister's disguise. There's no point in hiding it, Hongxia, I can see it from the side. Straightforward words. In an instant, Yujizi Hongxia fell into silence. There is nothing to hide from me, Hongxia. Itakazinge walked to the vending machine at the corner of the road next to it. He pressed down the orange soda, threw it to his sister, and continued, I have watched you grow up, so I can naturally tell what you are thinking. That's all the words have been said. Yide knew that Hongxia also knew that he could not hide it. She was silent for a while, then nodded in acknowledgement. Hongxia, you should know that both Xiao Lonely and Yamada like that boy from Nangxiang, right? No. He responded in a low voice. The love between Ichisato Goto and Ryo Yamada is very explicit. Even others can clearly feel it. Not to mention Hijika Itaka, who has been with the band for a long time. On the contrary, she could more intuitively feel the relationship between those three people. This is also the hesitation and entanglement she has always had in her heart. Now that you know why? Itakazinga frowned a little incomprehensibly, and just wanted to continue talking, or to be more precise, he scolded his sister for such behavior. But I don't understand either. Sister. The can of orange soda in his hand was clenched. The blonde girl raised her head. Those bright red eyes that were as bright as flames were raised. I fell in love with it unconsciously. I can't take my eyes away unconsciously. I unconsciously became interested in his every move. I also know that this is not good. Sister. But, what should I do? The sound is getting louder and louder. My love simulation with them. Author, Chiudeo Udazi. Chapter 313. Emotions are getting more and more exciting. What is right? Is it right to hide your feelings? Or should we just pretend that this incident never happened? Yujizi Hongxia was so excited for the first time, and she wanted to continue talking. But the next second, Yuji knew that seeing Ge had hugged her gently. She never thought that her sister, who always had a smile on her face, would have such troubles. She gently stroked the other person's head. I have never been in love, so I can't give Hongxia this answer. But no matter what you want to do next, it doesn't matter even if you fall in love with Nangxiang, I will support you. No long sermons. Just a calm tone. The voice of Yi Zinga, under the sunset, conveys an indescribable and peaceful feeling. Let Yuji know that Hongxia closed her eyes unconsciously. She nodded her head gently, yeah. Blonde sisters hugging each other at sunset. And it was at the corner of the street that they couldn't see. At some point, Nangxiang, who had left and returned, looked at the scene in front of him. He relaxed a little and hid behind the telephone pole. Look. There is no need for him to appear for the time being. Chapter 229. Where did the band end up with so many fans? 4,000 words. When I was in Nangxiang, I went to the first floor of the Stars Performance Hall to see the room. The room environment is very good. Probably to compete with the nearby Fangxing kitchen, the room is very spacious overall. At a glance, except for the fact that there is no entrance corridor or anything like that, it is a little more than twice the size of the 8-bed low-rent house in Nangxiang. Inside the room, there are 2 windows that allow light and ventilation. Compared with the previous low-rent housing, the overall sound insulation effect of the room is very good. After all, the underground floor is the Stars Performance Hall, so sound insulation and warmth are in place. The conditions here are perfect. After just looking around, Nangxiang nodded with satisfaction. It seems that there is no need to trouble Ms. Yamada or Ms. Shinjo to help find a house. It's also nice to live on the 2nd floor of Stars. It's just that I ran into a little trouble when I was handing over to Ichi Shinge. It seems that this older blonde sister is quite concerned about the fact that her younger sister is already in love with Nangxiang. The other party hesitated and hesitated for a long time before he finally managed to say, "You kid, never make Hongxia sad in the future." Nangxiang naturally nodded in agreement without hesitation. Of course he couldn't hurt Yuji Hongxia. Just like that, the handover procedures and the rental contract were signed. Maybe he was thinking of the fact that his sister had a crush on Nangxiang. The rental contract drawn up by Yuji Zinga was a bit like the one he handed to Nangxiang. With no deposit, no gift money from the landlord, and even only a small portion of the rent, Nangxiang obtained the right to use the ground floor of the Stars. As for the excuses given by the other party, they were also very perfunctory. You have never collected tutoring fees from Hongxia and the others. Let's deduct part of the rent from here. Don't be proud. It's not because I have any special affection for you that I gave you preferential treatment. It's just that the house is there and no one lives in it. What a shame. As expected, it is the arrogant Ichi Hoshige. This standard tsundere talk made Nangxiang, a girl who was used to seeing various settings, have to sigh. Nowadays, purebred tsunderes like the store manager are too rare in the Japanese market. That's all. Nangxiang obtained the right to use the ground floor of Stars. Similarly, he took advantage of the 2 days after receiving the rent rights to move out all the luggage he needed from his low-rent house. Beds, wardrobes, and other items are all provided in the low-rent house, so naturally they cannot be taken away in Nangxiang. All he could take away were some daily necessities and clothing. This process is quite time-consuming. Especially because Nangxiang always had a hobby of reading. Therefore, various thick novels, thin books, and library books occupy a lot of space in the suitcase. Even Miss Yamada was pulled over by Nangxiang and asked her to help. The price was that after moving once or twice, Ms. Yamada said she was too tired, so she lay down on the bedding in Nangxiang's new room and fell asleep. Moreover, due to the need to move, and the fact that Goto Ichiri's health has been really inconvenient these past few days. So Nangxiang made a special call to Goto Ichiri's parents and told them that due to moving matters in the past 2 days, he would not be able to visit their home and asked for their forgiveness. Although the Goto family felt sorry, especially when Goto Yuri was clamoring to see Nango, they considered that they would have to move when they went to Nango and had too many things on their hands, so they didn't care about it and instead smiled on the phone. When he told Nangxiang, the door of Goto's house would always be open for him. In response, Nang Xiangxi could only smile and reply that he would definitely be a guest next time he had the chance. And in this moving process, except moving, I didn't forget to communicate with other girls when I was in Nangxiang school. From time to time, I go to Fudabario's place to drink free coffee and tease the expressionless science otaku. From time to time, I would go to Miss Shinjo's class and ask her to borrow 2 good takyozatsu dramas to watch, relax my mind, and return the previous loan of 100,000 yen to her. I worked like this for 4 or 5 days. When I was in Nangxiang, I completely settled on the ground floor of the Stars Performance Hall. It is worth mentioning that Goto Ichiri's health has also improved a lot in the past few days. At least there is no problem with normal movement and trotting. Compared with before, this pink-haired girl is obviously much bolder. Although there is still some social fear, there are basically no problems with normal communication. He would even dare to secretly reach out and touch Nang Xiangxi's palm while the other members of the band were not paying attention. In response, Nang Xiangxi would grab her palm with evil intention, making her face flushed and unable to pull her palm away. It wasn't until he was about to be discovered that he released his palms and watched her respond to her partner's words in panic. To this end, Nang Xiangxi also made a special trip to use the data detector, which was only left twice, to check Goto Ichiri's basic attributes. Name, Ichisato Goto. Appearance, 9, Sports, 4, Academic ability, 4, Specialties, Inferiority level 2, Social anxiety level 1, Learning level 2, Guitar level 3. There are no changes to the following entries and system evaluations, so there is no need to release them. And leave that aside. What surprised Nango was the growth and changes in Goto Ichiri's data. The first is the academic value. Maybe the tutoring played a role. The original academic value has changed from 3 to 4 now. The learning specialty of LV1 has also become LV2. At the same time, social phobia dropped by 1 level and reached level 1. It seems that after doing that with MS Goto, her social anxiety was greatly reduced. Although Goto Ichiri still looks the same on the surface as before, Nango Toki believes that the changes will be reflected later. After all, Goto Kazuri has been suffering from social fear and low self-esteem for too long. Even social fear and low self-esteem have been reduced. It is estimated that he will still maintain his usual habit of speaking and acting submissively. Everything seems to be going in the right direction. This naturally made Nang Xiangxi feel good. In addition, the moving matter went smoothly, and at the request of Hiroikuri, the food partner, Nang Xiang made a special meal to celebrate. Aromatherapy steak, fried tempura, Spanish seafood risotto and a variety of other dishes. In response to this, Hiroikuri and everyone who ended the band basically did not stop. Especially the 2 bass players, Ryo Yamada and Kikuri Hiroi. These 2 people swept away the food on the table very quickly. In the words of Ichi Hoshige, "Have you never eaten?" In this regard, Yamada Ryo and Hiroikuri remained silent. 2 of them. One is a wild vegetable rice master who likes to buy all kinds of precious musical instruments until he has no money, and asks others to borrow money. If he can't, he digs wild vegetables to eat. The other one broke the equipment easily and had no money to borrow money from others. The older sister who borrowed the bathroom was a debtor. It is common for these 2 people to be hungry. Faced with such a sumptuous meal at this time, of course he had no intention of stopping. Just the 2 of them cleared a quarter of the food on the table, and even grabbed things from the bowl of Goto Ichiri, who didn't know much about talking. This continued until about 7 o'clock in the evening. Hiccup, I'm full, I'm full. Burping incomprehensibly and touching his belly, Hiroikuri sighed and said, as expected of a Nangxiang boy, "The food he makes is so delicious." As soon as she said this, everyone nodded in agreement without hesitation. The food made in Nangxiang tastes perfect and always gives people the feeling that they will never get tired of eating it. I really don't know how the other person got such a big head. It's amazing how many special features can be crammed into it. Well, I've finished my meal, and it's almost time for me to leave. Hiccups again. Hiroikairi slowly stood up and wrapped a scarf around her smooth and white neck. Hey? Sister Julie, are you leaving so early? Seeing Hiroikairi standing up, Kita Ikuyo on the side said, we will be performing on stage later, why don't you stay and watch? I won't watch it today. I still have something to do. By the way, there's this thing. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My love simulation with them. Author, Chiudeo Udazi. Chapter 314. Under everyone's gaze, Hiroikairi took out a leaflet from the shoulder bag next to him and handed it to Nango, who was reading a novel next to him. I felt that it would be necessary to end the band, so I brought it here specially. If you don't mind, you can take a look, then I'll take the first step. She said hello cheerfully, but left a leaflet in her hand when she was in Nangxiang, and left with a mysterious look on her face. This move naturally attracted the attention of Nangxiangshi and others. Nangxiangshi frowned and opened the folded flyer, then raised his eyebrows. 10th Generation Music Festival. Music Festival. This is quite common throughout Tokyo. After all, it is the economic and financial center of Japan. Tokyo's pop culture ranks among the best in Asia. When Hiroikairi presented it to Nango, it was the 10th Generation Music Festival, a relatively famous music festival that will be held in Tokyo in the near future. Ah! I've heard about this music festival. Kita Ikuyo, who was the young corner in the team, raised his palms without hesitation and began to explain to everyone. The so-called 10th Generation Music Festival is actually one of the more famous young music competitions held every year in Tokyo. In Japanese, the word generation actually means which generation, for example, second generation, third generation. The so-called 10th generation here actually refers to young people in the age range of 10 to 20 years old. In other words, the contestants of the 10 Generations Music Festival must be young people over 10 years old and under 20 years old. This is evident from the promotional leaflet, Tokyo Youth Music Celebration. Pursue the highest musical path. Because of the age limit, it is quite famous among the younger generation in Tokyo. Counting time, it should have been a famous music competition for more than 10 times. Kita Ikuyo concluded with a somewhat excited expression, how about it? Participate. Sure enough, you still have to participate, right? Everyone. Well, if you want to participate, I still want to participate. Yidiji Hongxia groaned. Of course she wanted to participate. These days, although the band has been doing tutoring at Nangxiangshi's place every day, the training that the band should do has not been missed even a day. Compared to them 3 months ago. Now the cooperation and understanding between the band has grown a lot. For today's band, the 10th Generation Music Festival is just the right stage. Thinking of this, Ijishi Hongxia, the leader of the team, raised his head. How's it going, little lonely? Do you want to participate? Huh? Well, if everyone wants to participate, I can also. Being called out suddenly, Goto Ichiri was a little flustered. After finally holding the water glass in her hand, she raised her head and spoke softly. Very good. So 3 members have decided to participate. Ryo, how about you? Itaki Hongxia was a little excited, and immediately raised her head and asked the last member, Miss Yamada, what she thought. However. Huh? It sounds like it's going to be very troublesome. Miss Yamada wrinkled her pretty eyebrows and made a sound of trouble. Hey. Liang, you guy dash. Almost fainted by his wicked bassist, Ijishi Hongzia just wanted to make a sound of persuasion. At this time, Nang Xiangxi, who had been holding the flyer and looking at it, spoke casually. Speaking of which, I took a look at the flyer and it seems that the winning band will receive a prize of 1 million yen. Bang! Stand up without hesitation. Ms. Yamada's originally lazy and expressionless neutral and elegant face now became extremely determined, and her voice was passionate. Participate. Hongzia. We must win. Her expression was serious, as if the person who was troublesome just now was not her. Yidinu Hongzia. Ijishi Hongzia opened her mouth and looked at Miss Yamada, who stood up in front of her. Then he subconsciously glanced at Nang Xiang on the other side. At this time, the other party was smiling at her and making a thumbs-up gesture. After noticing Nan Xiang's movements, Yiji Hongzia's face turned red and she cast a grateful look at him. Nang Xiang's help was very effective. It only took a moment to convince Miss Yamada, who was still full of disgust. Now that the biggest anti-bones in the end band have given in and decided to enter the festival competition, then everything will fall into place after that. Itaki Hongzia first ran to her home to get her laptop to confirm the specific time and method of participating in the music festival. Then I checked the specific details of participating on the internet. Then it's over. Looking at the participation requirements on the music festival's website, everyone present fell silent and looked at each other. In fact, it's no wonder they have such expressions. I saw that above the music festival participation activities, it was written clearly in black letters on a white background. Participating groups need to upload performance videos for preliminary review and online voting. Music groups with less than 1,000 online fans are currently not eligible to participate. Number of online fans, 1,000. Where did the band's online account get so many fans? Chapter 230. As compensation. Kiss me 5,600 words. The conditions for participation in the 10th Generation Music Festival are very simple. Because in fact, as long as you persist in activities in the exhibition hall, and if your level is good, you can continue to submit articles online. The number of online fans of 1,000 is not an unattainable number at all. For ordinary bands, as long as they update their videos more diligently, they can reach this number of followers in 3 or 4 months. But the problem is, our band's SNS account has never posted any serious performance videos. With blood and tears on her face, Yujizi Hongzia took out her mobile phone and pointed at the SNS social account belonging to the band that ended on the screen. Because I have always asked Akuto Kida to keep the SNS account on my behalf. So there are all the updates from food and beauty bloggers such as where did I go today, what did I eat, I put on makeup today, it looks great. There is no such thing as a music submission video. Obviously they have been at Shimokitazawa Star's performance hall for more than half a year. Even the number of followers is only a pitiful 50 or 60 people. It is estimated that most of them are friends of Ikuyo Kida, the kind who are not even capable of fighting. Well, listening to Ichiki Hunka's words, Kida Ikuyo next to me was a little embarrassed. Well, I'm really sorry, because it's a social network account, and there are a lot of likes from friends' visits, so I accidentally did what I usually do. Updates posted. This abominable current charge. Hearing the words I have a lot of friends, not only Ryo Yamada and Ichiri Goto, but even Ijichi Honka couldn't help but look at Kida Ikuyo one more time. But venting to Kida Ikuyo on this kind of matter has no effect at all. After all, the band's SNS account is a common account for everyone. As long as you're in a band, it doesn't matter what you want to post on it. But 1,000 fans. Holding her chin, Yujizi Hongzia sighed. There are still 7 days until the music festival demo review. There are only 7 days left. Even if they end the band and continue to update videos of band practices and performances every day, They can't jump from 50 or 60 fans to 1,000, right? How should I do it? This music festival is undoubtedly a good opportunity to try it out. Yujizi Hongxia didn't want to miss this opportunity. But the number of 1,000 fans is like a big mountain standing in front of them. It's difficult. Don't know how to do it? Just when Yujizi Hongxia was in a dilemma and didn't know what to do. Hongxia. Miss Yamada, who had been silent, waved to Ajishi Hunka. Then the expressionless woman with dark blue short hair looked around and took out her phone. Here, you can buy 1,000 followers immediately for only 50,000 yen. Compared to 1 million yen, it's really a good deal. Buying and selling, right? Yidinu Hongxia. At this time, Ichiki Hunka's understanding of Miss Yamada's lack of moral integrity and limitlessness deepened once again. They kept discussing the other side. Well, Ashi, if I share my Guitar Hero account, it should be able to meet the requirements for the competition, right? As he cautiously approached Nango, Goto Kazuri expressed his inner thoughts. In fact, she has been updating Guitar Hero videos since the Oka festival. The knot of inferiority and social fear is gradually being resolved. Her solo level has improved further than before, so her fans on the internet have also increased, and now she has even exceeded the 100,000 fan mark. In the original work, it is mentioned that the number of fans of Goto Ichiri is 2 Tokyo domes, which is almost 100,000. The number of fans of 100,000 is enough to be considered a first-class music blogger even in Japan. Nang Xiangxi even felt that Goto Ichiri's guitar had vaguely touched the threshold of level 4. But her low self-esteem and social fear stopped her from moving forward. Then the topic comes back again. If you are willing to share your Guitar Hero account, you can easily reach the requirement of 1,000 fans. Nang Xiangxi said thoughtfully, but haven't you always been worried that once Guitar Hero's identity is exposed, it will cause a gap between you and the other members of the ending band? He knew the reason why Goto Ichiri had been hiding his identity. Because the identity of Guitar Hero is too far away for the currently unknown band. If exposed here, the huge level gap may make Kita Akude and the others feel inferior, alienated. My love simulation with them. Author, Chiudeo Udazi. Chapter 315. This is why Ichiri Goto never wanted to reveal his identity. But, you can't participate without 1,000 fans. Goto Ichiri was a little hesitant. She really didn't want to reveal her identity at this time. But she can't participate without 1,000 fans, which is also something she doesn't want to see. This put her in a dilemma. Nang Xiangxi also fell into thinking about Goto Ichiri's inner struggle. Just like Kazuri Goto said. This opportunity is very rare. The competition is limited to peers aged 10 to 20 years old. It is also a good experience opportunity for the entire band. If you give up the competition because you don't have enough fans, no matter how you think about it, this is a pity. You can't really spend 50,000 yen to buy zombie fans online like MS Yamada said, right? This is too. Nan Xiangxi frowned and thought about the solution. But he hadn't finished thinking yet. A gentle voice came from the side. The problem of ending the band's 1,000 fans has actually been solved by Nang Xianggai a long time ago. Once these words were spoken, it was not just Nang Xiangxi. Even the girls who were finishing the band on the other side looked over subconsciously. Some of them didn't quite understand the meaning of Miss Pa's words. It was under everyone's gaze that MS Pa spoke slowly. Brother Nangxiang, have you forgotten? You asked me and Hongxia-chan before about ending the band's YouTube account. YouTube, whose real name is YouTube, is the world's largest online video submission website. As an end band that wants to be active online. Of course, they not only registered domestic SNS social accounts in Japan, but also registered accounts on YouTube and Twitter. When I first came to end the band in Nangxiang, I wanted to make money as a music video contributor because of financial constraints, coupled with the regret in life guitar and my LV3 musical talent. During that time, he also made a special trip to Ujizinga to borrow effects devices, speakers, and other items for an open-air performance. He also asked MS Pa to record his open-air performance in a short video. The song played at that time was I Don't Want to Die Lonely, the band's final song in the simulation. It was during that period of open-air performances that he met Nishiki Kishu and Inu Takina. After that, he was invited by Ijichi Hungzia to become a support member of the Ending Band. He also asked the other party for the Ending Band's YouTube account, and posted 2 or 3 outdoor performances on it. But due to the simulation of Nishiki Chisuk and Inu Takina later, coupled with the specialty of cooking, happiness, LV4, he can make money much faster than by posting videos online. Over time, Nang Xiangxi never logged into the band's YouTube account to contribute. After all, there are too many things going on. Could it be those few submissions? Nang Xiang looked up at Miss Pa. It's that, is it possible? MS Pa raised a finger cutely and reminded, Hungzia-chan, you can take a look at the number of fans of the band that has ended now on YouTube. The results you get may surprise you. In fact, there is no need for Miss Pa to remind me at all. After Ichiki Hungzia and the others heard the conversation between her and Nang Xiangxi, they realized something and opened a YouTube account to end the band. Then, 60,000 followers. The girls who finished the band widened their eyes. I saw that the number of followers displayed under the account with the name ending the band was so terrifying. A full 60,000. And the reproduction number of clicks, is even more terrifying. The reproduction number of each video has reached more than 100,000. This is too scary. Kita Ikuyo stared at the screen and muttered to himself. Her tone was full of disbelief. In fact, it's no wonder she was so surprised. After all, the number of fans on YouTube is basically the real number of fans, and there is rarely a case of sinister soldiers crossing the border. Although those 60,000 fans are not as good as Goto Kazuri's Guitar Hero account. But among the younger generation, it is enough to be called a dimensionality reduction blow. After all, not everyone is Ichiri Goto and has solo skills like Guitar Hero. And in Kitayuyo's impression, most bands of the younger generation only have between 10,000 and 20,000 to 30,000 and 40,000 scattered fans online. Not to mention that the YouTube account of End the Band only has 2 or 3 videos of the outdoor performances in Nangxiang. In other words, Nang Xiangxi has already attracted 60,000 fans just by relying on these 2 or 3 videos of open-air performances. Bands of the same type basically have to post dozens or even hundreds of videos to reach the level of Nang Xiangxi. This ability is a perfect powder-attracting machine no matter which platform it is placed on. Oh, there are so many messages. The expressionless Yamada Ryo sighed beside him. Under her words, Ijishi Hungzia and the others subconsciously turned their attention to the message board, comment area. You haven't updated a video in 5 months. Are you missing? Both the rhythm and technique are top-notch, and the key songs are so good, ending the band? What kind of band is this? Has anyone heard of it? I'm not sure. But this guy is too good looking, isn't he? The songs are also good. Are you mainly active in Shimokitazawa? I happen to live nearby, so I have to take a look when I have time. There's only one person in the band? Where are the other members of the band? But it doesn't matter, I'm so good looking. The comment section is mostly filled with positive reviews and questions about why the account has not been updated for so long. It even makes people feel that the author of the video specially paid money to hire trolls to create popularity. Although no one knew that we were ending the band, it was just Toki-kun's comment that they wanted to see one more time. Sighing helplessly, Ichiki Hunka smiled and said to Kita Ikuyo beside him. In addition to these comments, there are also some fans who are so fanatical that they go crazy in the comment area. Ah! Husband. Husband is here. So handsome. I watched it twice again. My husband is so good looking. His hands are so white. It feels like there are muscles. I've checked it out 10 times. Is anyone willing to go to Shimokitazawa to check out some places? I bought a surveillance camera online and am going to follow Kitazawa Guitar Boy. Too horrible. Seeing this almost morbid fan comment, not only Ichiki Hikaru, but Goto Ichisato, who was just watching next to him, felt a chill running down his spine. Kita Ikuyo even turned around and told Nangxiang Toki seriously not to show his face on the internet in the future, lest he would be targeted by some scary women. After all, Japan is just an island country, and the transportation is very convenient. Maybe someone will come all the way to the Shimokitazawa area of Tokyo. Even such incidents of being harassed and followed by fans are not uncommon in the entertainment industry. And put aside their feelings of fear or worry. On the other side, Ryo Yamada had already raised his hand expressionlessly and started to reply. The aloof bass weirdo, you women, don't even think about taking action against him, he's mine. Aloof bass freak, a bunch of perverts, don't go crazy here and dirty his comment section. The aloof bassist, blocked. This one here is quite scary. Seeing Yamada Ryo's slender white fingers dancing on the phone, Ijishi Hungzia's mouth twitched, and she didn't know what to say for a while. However, putting aside these very outrageous comments, there are also some very serious people who are commenting on the song I Don't Want to Die Alone. I really like the song I Don't Want to Die in Loneliness. It feels like walking under the neon lights of Tokyo. The midnight wind is blowing towards me with a romantic and sad atmosphere. Although I am walking in it, the prosperity of the city has nothing to do with me. It doesn't matter at all. Just listening to this song feels like I'm falling into a sea of loneliness. The first half of the song is extremely depressing, making people feel as dead as being stuck in a quagmire, but the excitement of the second half makes people suddenly feel like they're alive. Feeling. Maybe life is like this. It's ups and downs, and it's hard to be smooth sailing. You are indeed worthy of being Shikun. Looking at the comments in the comment area, Ijishi Hungzia sighed. It only takes one person to gain such attention online. 60,000 fans. How long would it take for them to end the band? Not to mention that Nangxiang didn't work hard to operate this account at all. Is this the difference between genius and mortal? Do not know why. After seeing how much attention Nango had received on the internet, Hikaru Itaka and Ikuyo Kita felt a sense of loss. It is a sense of loss that comes from recognizing the gap between oneself and others. The atmosphere in the whole room also became a little depressing under this feeling. As for their thoughts, Nangxiang quickly became acutely aware of them. He shook his head and comforted, it's not that exaggerated. Yes. Not that exaggerated. A large part of the reason why he has gained so much attention on the internet is actually due to the help of I Don't Want to Die Alone and the Guitar of Regret in Life. I Don't Want to Die Alone is a song written in simulation to end the band's heyday. It is an inner monologue unique to Ichiri Goto. The experience of social fear and inferiority that many people have had can inspire the greatest resonance from others. And the regret of life guitar can deepen the feelings and resonance of others. The combination of the two, coupled with Nangxiang's fairly good guitar skills and appearance, can achieve this effect. But closing the band was different. When Nangxiang looked at Yidishi Hungzia, the ending band in the simulation is Japan's #1 rock band. My love simulation with them. Author, Chiudeo Udazi Iway. Chapter 316. Not to mention Ryo Yamada, known as the Queen of Ice bassists, and Kazuri Goto, the Queen of Guitar. Drummer Najika Itaki and vocalist Ikuyo Kita also have a formidable number of fans. They were truly Japan's #1, and their music style dominated Japan for an era. So, It doesn't make sense to just care about the number of fans in front of you. Nang Xiangxi looked at Ichiki Hongxia with steady eyes. You will become better in the future. Ended the band. Nang Xiang's tone was very calm. But the absolute confidence in them in his words was something that Yuji's Hai Hongxia and the others could feel. How to say? The girls looked at each other, and then lowered their gazes. Even Miss Yamada, who had always been lawless, turned her gaze away uncomfortably. After all, being able to be so affirmed by Nang Xiangxi. Deep down inside, they were not only happy but also a little embarrassed. Nan Xiang had no intention of delving into their thoughts. Just seeing that the atmosphere became lively, he continued, so, the account requirement of ending the band's 1,000 followers has been met, and there is no problem in participating in the 10th Generation Music Festival competition, right? But, isn't this your account, Shijun? Yujizi Hongxia raised her palm. Although she also wanted to participate in the 10th Generation Music Festival, they had not managed the band's YouTube account at all. There are only videos from Nang Xiang. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is Nang Xiangxi's private account. They just said a word and took away Nang Xiangxi's account. This is inappropriate no matter how you think about it. But Nang Xiangxi was actually prepared for the girl's slender and entangled thoughts. Hongxia, have you forgotten that I am a support member of the ending band? In other words, I am a member of the ending band. It is normal to manage a team account, right? This was actually said very reluctantly. Because support members are not technically part of the closing band. But the girls present had already regarded this young man as an indispensable part of ending the band. Since he has spoken like this, if you continue to refuse, that would be inappropriate. Think of this. The already enthusiastic and kind-hearted Yiji Hongxia did not continue to struggle with this topic. She nodded, then let's do what Shijun said, but... There's nothing wrong with it, Nan Xiangxi interrupted her. Funny, if you really feel embarrassed to accept help, then please ask Hongxia to come up with a plan to compensate me, for example, give me a kiss. Nang Xiangxi didn't want to continue arguing with the girls on this topic. As for kissing him, this was naturally a casual joke in Nang Xiang. And the band is now all in the room. There was Miss Pa watching next to me. Even if Yujizi Hongxia was very courageous, he probably wouldn't be able to make such a bold move. His idea is very simple and pure. However, such a simple thought made him look a little surprised in the next second. I saw Yujizi Hongxia clenching her fists. Probably made some kind of determination. Immediately, she took a sudden step forward. While in Nang Xiang, under the gaze of everyone present, Sakura's pink lips touched the side of his face. That soft touch, completely different from Goto's lips, made Nang Xiangxi's eyes unable to help but fall on her blushing face. Is this okay? Toki-kun. Just after saying these words, the warm and kind-hearted Itaki Hongxia, who always smiled at everyone, turned around with a flushed face and left the room in a hurry. Only Ryo Yamada, Kazuri Goto, Ikuyo Kita, and MS Pa with a strange smile on her lips were left in the room. They were silent as they all stared at Nang Xiang. Quiet. At this moment, the whole room was as quiet as death. Chapter 231. The relationship will not change after ending the band. 2800 words. Eyes can also make people uneasy in a sense. Nang Xiangxi actually learned about this for the first time today. He felt the eyes of Miss Yamada, Miss Goto, and Miss Kita who were staring at him strangely. I felt it for the first time when I was in Nang Xiang. Maybe we shouldn't play such intimate jokes on girls in the future. But who knows? The usually serious Iji Hongxia. He actually took his joke seriously and took the initiative to kiss the side of his face. Even if Iji knew that Hongxia had a certain favorable impression of him. But with so many people, how dare she be so bold? No. Maybe it was because the other party was Ijishi Hungzia that he dared to be so bold. If it were Goto Kazuri, he would definitely hesitate and hesitate, not knowing how to answer. Nangxiang rubbed his eyebrows slightly. Perhaps the only good thing to be thankful for is that Ichiki Hoshige went to the front desk to prepare for the opening of the Stars exhibition hall. If only the senior blonde elder sister saw what her younger sister had done. Nan Xiang felt that with her temper, she would immediately drive him out of the Stars and not allow him to continue living there. But even so, the situation didn't get better. Miss Yamada and Miss Goto are both okay. As long as they make up for it afterwards, they won't have any complaints. But the key ones, Kita Ikuyo and MS Pa, are not so easy to fool. So, if you want to say anything, just say it. Nangxiang Shi took a sip of water and sat directly on the main seat. Under this situation, he calmed down. There is no need to be nervous if you think about it carefully. Neither Yamada-san nor Goto-san spoke. Not to mention Ikuyo Kita and MS Pa, who are only good friends but not so close to me. It's not a shameful relationship. Just tell the truth. Thinking of this, he raised his eyes and looked back. Well. Nangxiang's attitude made Kita Ikuyo and MS Pa on the other side a little surprised. Why is Nangxiang Shi so confident now? At this time, shouldn't you feel guilty, indecisive, and thinking about other things? Is this how male protagonists in Japanese comics and animations should behave? The sudden contrast in Nangxiang made the two of them unable to adapt for a moment. But, excuse me, what is the relationship between brother Nangxiang and Hungzia Chen now? Don't worry, I will never tell the store manager. MS Pa became interested, raised her palms, and decided to introduce the first question, and then gradually go deeper. It would be best to see Nangxiang's embarrassed expression. As an older person, what she likes to see most is the panicked look of these young people in Nangxiang. However, Hungzia should like me. Well. The unexpected direct speech and the unhesitating attitude made the palady who showed embarrassment when she wanted to look at Nangxiang unable to resist. What's wrong? Do you have any more questions? Miss Pa. Nangxiang Shi went over to ask. No, no problem. Not only did he not panic, but he actually took the initiative. This is really. Miss Pa opened her mouth. She suddenly realized that when it came to communication skills, her eldest sister, who had not even finished high school, might not be her match in Nangxiang. She said and ah several times, and finally coughed and stood up. I'm going out first. When he failed to tease her to Nangxiang, he was turned against him. Even Miss Pa was too embarrassed to continue to stay. Seeing Miss Pa turn and leave, Nangxiang Shi turned his attention to Kita Ikuyo, who was a little at a loss. What's the problem with Yude? As long as it's a question I can answer, I won't hide it. Iri-chan and Ryo-senpai, okay. Kita Ikuyo hesitated and thought for a long time, but did not turn his head to Nangxiang Shi. Instead, he looked at Ryo Yamada, who was eating snacks, and Ichisato Goto, who was looking shy. Although Nangxiang's attitude was calm. But Kazuri Goto and Ryo Yamada, who were in love with Nango, shouldn't be in such a dull mood now, right? Ikuyo Kita thought so and asked a question. But. Huh? Yude, what are you talking about? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My love simulation with them. Author, Chiudeo Udazi. Chapter 317. Under the gaze of Ikuyo Kita, Ryo Yamada raised his pretty face with a puzzled expression. Why? Kita Ikuyo really didn't expect Yamada Ryo to ask such a question. Because she clearly remembered the side of Yamada Ryo's face when she saw Ichiki Hunka kissing her in Nango. Why do you still have this what happened expression? She couldn't help but remind her, just now, didn't Senior Ichiki kiss Nango-san, Ryo-senpai? Yeah. I saw it. Then Senior Ryo doesn't have any other feelings. Well, if it were me kissing, I would choose the lips. Why? Listening to Yamada Ryo's words, Kita Ikuyo was stunned. This reaction was completely different from the reaction she had imagined. Senior Ryo probably likes Nangxiang-san. Why do you look so nonchalant at this time? She couldn't understand it at all. Has she fallen completely behind pop culture? Or is she simply unable to keep up with Ryo Yamada's rhythm? She didn't know what to say, so she could only focus on go to Ichiri. Where's Ichiri-chan? What do you think about Ichiri-chan? How do you see that? Goto Ichiri didn't expect that this fire would burn him. He couldn't help but rub his hands, and then whispered in an uncertain tone, I'm very, very envious. It seems that I really can't keep up with the version. Ryo Yamada and Kazuri Goto clearly speak Japanese. But why can't I understand a word? She felt inexplicably anxious and couldn't help but want to speak again. Then, Ikuyo wants to join us. Pure, inorganic amber eyes looked over. Yamada Ryo asked her question. Hey? Join. Yamada Ryo's words once again surprised Kita Ikuyo. The meaning contained in these words made her lips tremble and she was speechless for a long time. Join in? How is it possible to join? Ichisato Goto, Ryo Yamada, and now Ichiki Hikaru. What would it be like if she still joined in? She didn't think so. But in the next second, Yamada Ryo spoke as if he had seen something clearly. If there is no idea, then why is Ikuyo so anxious? What are you anxious about? Ah. Yamada Ryo's words are still so short and easy to understand. But those short and easy to understand words were like sharp iron cones, pointing straight into the girl's heart. In a hurry? Anxious? Me? Kita Ikuyo wanted to deny Yamada Ryo's words. But when the words came to his lips, they couldn't come out. Because she thought about the dreams that had appeared in her mind in the past few days. In the dream, she got acquainted with everyone in the band, worked hard, and was admitted to college with the help of Nangxiangshi. Then with their help, the band gradually became famous, and they began to slowly realize their dreams. In this process of helping each other, Itaka Najika, Yamada Ryo, Goto Kazuri, and herself all fell in love with Nango Toki. And what's happening now? It seems like they are all verifying that dream. Indeed, each of them had a good impression of Nangxiangshi, and even fell in love with him. This situation made Kita Ikuyo a little flustered and anxious. She did have a crush on Nangxiang as she remembered in her mind. But this feeling of being verified step by step gave Kita Ikuyo the illusion that his feelings were arranged. This made her restless. Today, Ujizi Hungzia's actions deepened the anxiety in her heart. So she followed her inner thoughts and couldn't help but ask questions. But the more you ask, I feel more and more confused. The dislocation between the memory in her mind and reality made her feel a little conflicted and resistant. No matter it is in the past or the future, her feelings do not want to be arranged by others. Kita Ikuyo was very confused. It was at this time. In fact, you just need to make the choice you think is right. Nangxiangshi, who had been silent until now, spoke up, no one will force you to make a choice you don't want to make. There is no need to care too much, and there is no need to be confused. Feeling confused because of the memory fragments in my mind was actually the last thing I should do when I was in Nangxiang. Because simulated memory is actually equivalent to a dream. Dreams cannot affect reality, nor can they change other people's thoughts about you. It wasn't because of memory fragments that Yuji knew Hungzia would fall in love with Nangxiang. But in reality, she had already accumulated quite a good impression of Nangxiangshi. The memory fragments just made her aware of her own thoughts and intentions. So, There is no need to feel anxious and confused about those illusory dreams or memories. Nangxiang reached out his hand and touched Ikuyo Kita's head. His voice was calm. After all, no matter what, ending the relationship between bandmates will not change because of a dream. Chapter 232. Meet Yamada's parents. 4,000 words. After that, Kita Ikuyo left his new home in Nango with the reason of wanting to sort out his thoughts. Nangxiangshi was not surprised by this. After all, Ikusiro Kita is such a person in my impression. Even if she really feels stressed, she will not complain, but will think of solutions. That being the case, Nangxiangshi could only wait for her to make her own choice after that. Just wait until 10 o'clock. Then it's almost time for me to go back. Standing up from behind the starry bar, Ms. Yamada walked out with her slender legs wrapped in black socks and a bass guitar bag on her back. She greeted everyone with her usual calm voice. Then she tilted her head slightly and looked at Nangxiangshi behind the water bar. Send it to me. When Ms. Yamada moved her head, her dark blue short hair swayed slightly like the hazy tree shadows under the moonlight, and her voice sounded calm, like a clear spring in the forest in the hot summer. Ryo, your home is not far from here, right? When I was in Nango, I remembered that Miss Yamada's home was not far from the stars. It was located near Shimokitazawa. With such a small distance, there should be no need for him to send it. No matter, send it to me. Yamada Ryo lifted the hair from his ears and gathered them carefully. Yes, yes. Nangxiang nodded, but did not argue about this issue. After all, when Goto Ichiri left at 9 o'clock, Nangxiangshi also sent him off. There was no reason why he wouldn't send it off when it was Miss Yamada's turn to go home. So he stood up, walked to Yamada Ryo, and reached out his hand. Let's go. Although Yamada Ryo nodded expressionlessly, it could be seen that she was quite satisfied with Nangxiang's attitude. With slender fingers, he took the bass guitar bag off his back and handed it to Nangxiang's outstretched hand, before walking out of the stars with him. At 10 o'clock, the streets of Shimokitazawa were still as noisy as ever. College students gather. Office workers who had just had a drink wandered the streets looking for their next place to drink. Everything looked noisy. Ryo Yamada walked in this bustling and noisy neighborhood, but he felt like an isolated island floating in the sea of excitement. That beautiful appearance makes people think of the goddess in the night. The wind blowing by the street slightly blew her short dark blue hair, giving it an indescribable charm. Nangxiang walked forward with her carrying a bass guitar bag on his back, telling her interesting things he had encountered in the past few days. Just walked a certain distance. Nangxiangshi suddenly said, "Are you angry?" This sentence is meaningless. After hearing this, the average girl would probably give Nangxiang a strange look. But Yamada Ryo just shook his head silently, not angry. Her voice is calm and slightly magnetic, making people want to listen more to the tone of her voice. Lie. Nangxiang reached out his finger and poked her cheek from the side. The soft cheek flesh was poked with lovely dimples by Nangxiangshi's fingers. My love simulation with them. Author, Chiudeo Udazi. Chapter 318. Yamada Ryo couldn't help but glance at Nangxiangshi next to him. Seeing his straightforward smile, the girl tilted her head awkwardly to one side. Yes, I'm angry. How could Ryo Yamada not be angry? She should obviously be the first to win Nangxiang. Whether it's a kiss or an intimate relationship, she should be the one to succeed. But these were all taken by Goto Kazuri. This isn't fair, she thinks. Whether it's offense or preemptive reaction and prediction ability, she should be the one who takes first place. Even latecomers like Yuji Shihongzia progressed much faster than her, and they kissed the side of Nangxiang's face today. How could she not be angry about this? She is just free and doesn't care about other people's eyes, but that doesn't mean she has no emotions. And quite the opposite. Ryo Yamada is actually very childish in some aspects. She hadn't even been able to kiss Nang Xiangxi. And Hong Xia actually did it today. Therefore, Yamada Ryo felt emotional. Although she didn't show it in front of Nang Xiangxi, she was indeed having trouble now. But what Ryo Yamada didn't expect was emotions that I have hidden so deeply. You can feel it all the time in Nang Xiang. This young man is like his natural nemesis. All the little thoughts in one's heart cannot be hidden from the other party. But just understanding yourself is useless. She thinks. The cost of her moodiness is very serious. Even Nang Xiangxi couldn't calm her down. It was at this time that Nang Xiangxi walked to the front 2 steps ahead of her. Then, he opened his arms to her. Bring it on. What? Yamada Ryo raised his head. The beautiful eyebrows were raised. This young man doesn't really think things are that simple, does he? Just a simple hug to soothe yourself? Could it be that he regarded himself as a 7 or 8-year-old child? Can it be fooled so easily? Do you think this can appease me? Come on, said the young man. Ryo Yamada. She was silent, then let out a small sigh, then stretched out her white palms and hugged Nang Xiangxi tightly. Damn it, isn't this completely seen through? She hugged Nang Xiang with her eyes closed and refused to let go. At the same time, she was a little dissatisfied with her change in mood. I'm still angry. When hugging Nang Xiang, she said seriously that she didn't want to be regarded as an easy woman. I know. You want to figure out how to comfort me? I can tell you, Yamada Ryo said. Unnecessary. Nang Xiangxi's slightly brisk voice fell on the streets of Tokyo. I know how to comfort Ryo. The young man's face was gilded with a layer of silver under the light of the street lamp. His face was close, and his thin and red lips were close. Ryo Yamada felt the heat. Amazing heat. It didn't come from Nang Xiangxi. It was the hot heat radiating from her own face. For the first time, Yamada Ryo felt panicked. She subconsciously wanted to retreat. But the white rabbit had already jumped into the hunter's arms and could not dodge. Nang Xiang kissed the lips of Miss Yamada, who showed a panicked expression for the first time. So soft. Ryo Yamada thought. A completely different feeling than indirect kissing. She subconsciously put her arms around Nang Xiangxi's neck. Standing on tiptoes wearing brown loafers. Don't retreat but advance. Her normally inorganic eyes were like ripples on a spring pond, undulating slightly. After a while. Lips parted. The girl gasped slightly under Nang Xiangxi's gaze. Her slender body was hugged by him, and she could feel a slight tremor. Are you still angry? He pressed his forehead against the girl's and asked softly. The girl blushed for the first time and turned her head. After a while, she responded in a low voice, I still want to comfort you. This time, she took the initiative to kiss him. Click. The silver pull ring of the kin is a bit dazzling under the illumination of the street lamp. Nang Xiangxi held the drink in his hand and drank it one sip after another. It seems that he wants to use this behavior to dilute the stimulation from his lips. Yamada Ryo stood beside him, looking at his thin and red lips, and took several sips of the drink in a hurry. All the little emotions I had just now have disappeared. Drink the drink dry. The two people walked on the streets of Shimokitazawa again. Until this time. Yamada Ryo suddenly felt it. The journey home usually feels very long and boring. I don't know why at this time, it suddenly became extremely short-lived. Then she had bad thoughts. He deliberately slowed down his pace and at the same time stretched out his hands towards Nang Xiang. Time she started. Looking back when I was in Nang Xiang. He just happened to see her stretching out her hands towards him. Carried me. When she opened her mouth, she made a request that could be said to be extremely willful for anyone. But this is Ryo Yamada. Ms. Yamada is usually willful, unreasonable, doesn't listen to what others say, and doesn't care about other people's eyes. Nang Xiangxi laughed. You need someone to carry such a big person? Aren't you ashamed? Miss Yamada carried me. She didn't care about other people's eyes, she still stretched out her hands. Well. Nangxiang she didn't mean to continue teasing the dark blue girl with short hair. He took the bass guitar bag off his back and carried it instead, while squatting down. Yamada Ryo also took this opportunity to lean down. She pressed tightly against Nan Xiangshi's broad back and put her head on his shoulder, feeling the scent of Nan Xiangshi's body. She, who was always cold and expressionless, turned slightly red. Nangxiang didn't say anything, but while carrying the bass bag, he held Miss Yamada's butt steady with his right hand. Our. The girl's voice became urgent. I know. Nan Xiangshi laughed, put his hand on the outside of her thigh, and stood up. The two people walked forward step by step. The night breeze on the street brings the noise of Tokyo night. Even though it was already past 10 o'clock in the night, various human voices could still be heard. But Ryo Yamada could no longer hear these noisy sounds. The sound of her heartbeat, body temperature, and Nan Xiang's breathing as she stepped forward had completely attracted her attention. Just identify the sounds. She did her best. Yamada Ryo closed his eyes, and then suddenly said, Time. The competition at our music festival, I don't know what will happen. My love simulation with them. Author, Chiudeo Udazi Iway. Chapter 319. No matter what the outcome is, you will always be with us, right? Yamada Ryo hugged Nangxiangshi's neck tightly, and brought his nose close to his hair, smelling his scent boldly and unobtrusively. Yes. I will always be with you. Miss Yamada is so adorable today. Nangxiang couldn't help but want to reach out and touch her head. But due to his current posture, he could only give up. He walked forward without saying a word. The straight street soon reached the corner at the end thanks to his good physical strength, which he exercised every day. Go right. Ms. Yamada, who was lying on her back, suddenly gave directions. As for her assistance in guiding her, Nan Xiangshi just patted her butt and said, let's go to the left. Ms. Yamada can be said to be evil-minded from all angles. He actually pointed him in the wrong direction on purpose. According to the memory in the simulation, Nangxiang knew that if he went to the right, he would have to go around in a big circle. Because as early as in the simulation, Yamada Ryo had used this trick to tease him. The direction was determined. Nangxiangshi did not hesitate anymore, but took steps and walked to the left. I told you to go to the right. Dissatisfied with Nangxiangshi's behavior, Miss Yamada bit Nangxiangshi's neck. But Nangxiang didn't feel any pain. On the contrary, Miss Yamada's bite was more like a little cat sucking a human finger. In this regard, Nangxiangshi could only remind him, don't be ridiculous, Liang, we are almost at your house. If someone sees the two of us like this, it won't be a good idea, right? It doesn't matter. Dad and Mom should be asleep by now. Yamada Ryo replied nonchalantly. It's already past 10 o'clock. Her parents are not the young people of today who regard staying up late as the norm, so they naturally went to bed early now. But that's just what I said. But Miss Yamada still listened to Nangxiangshi's words and moved her mouth away from Nangxiangshi's neck. Looking at the conspicuous red mark on his neck, Yamada Ryo was very satisfied. This would be enough to demonstrate to others the sovereignty of this man in Nangxiangshi. It happened to be when she was thinking like this. Ryo-chan. Original title given to her by Ryo Yamada's parents. Some surprised sounds came from the intersection ahead. Dad? Not caring at all about what she had said before, Mom and Dad should have fallen asleep by now. Miss Yamada, who was on her back in Nangxiang, stood up and waved to the figure under the streetlight in front of her. Nangxiang glanced sideways at Miss Yamada, sighing inwardly that he really couldn't believe a word of this woman's words. He even doubted it now. Did Miss Yamada say this on purpose to make him relax his vigilance? Only. Anyway, Yamada's father has already seen it. Nang Xiangxi didn't stay where he was and struggled. Instead, he walked quickly towards the street light in front of him. It is indeed Liang Zhang. I saw it from a long way away. Who is this? It was Ryo Yamada's father who asked this question. The other person was a middle-aged man wearing glasses, who looked gentle and polite. It can be said that she is completely the opposite type from the usually cold and expressionless Ms. Yamada. Hello, I am a support member of the ending band like Ryo. My name is Nango Toki. Nango Toki, who introduced himself as briefly as possible and did not want to make the situation too complicated, extended his palm to Yamada's father. His tone and attitude are very calm, making it easy for people to feel good about him and put down their guard. The same is naturally true for Yamada's father. He also stretched out his hand, wanting to shake Nang Xiangxi's hand. However, the next second. Yeah. Likewise, she is also my boyfriend. Miss Yamada suddenly added next to her. It was a pretty good atmosphere. Also at this moment. Become subtle. Chapter 233. Yuyuko Itsuki is very confused. 4,000 words. Yeah. Likewise, she is also my boyfriend. When Miss Yamada said these words, the atmosphere at the scene became subtle in just an instant. Nang Xiangxi couldn't help but glance sideways at Miss Yamada, who was lying on his back. In every sense of the word, Ms. Yamada is one of those people who can't understand the atmosphere at all. Seemingly noticing Nang Xiangxi's gaze, Yamada Ryo lowered his voice, leaned in and whispered, "It's okay, my father actually has a very good impression of you. Nang Xiangxi. Thank you so much for your thoughtful reminder, Ms. Yamada. But there's nothing to panic about. After all, as Ms. Yamada said, the other party is her girlfriend and she is her boyfriend. As for meeting the parents. Anyway, we have to meet sooner or later." That is to say, Miss Yamada suddenly added something from the side, catching Nang Xiang off guard. When it comes to sorting out his mentality, Nang Xiang still has his own understanding. After a whole set of persuasion, he raised his head and took the initiative to greet Yamada's father again, just like Ryo said, "I am also her boyfriend." "Hello, Nang Xiang-kun, is it okay to call you this?" Just as Yamada Ryo said, Yamada's father had a very good impression of Nang Xiang. Even though he made such a bad self-introduction under the instigation of Yamada Ryo, he showed no sign of anger. Instead, he showed a gentle smile and nodded towards Nang Xiang. "Okay, please call me whatever you want. I already understand the general situation, but before we officially start talking, Nang Xiang-kun, can you put my daughter down first?" Ryo Yamada is still lying on Nang Xiangxi's back and refuses to get off. In front of Yamada's father, this behavior is indeed not very elegant. So Nang Xiangxi nodded, "Of course." As he said that, he turned his eyes to look at Yamada Ryo. Yamada Ryo originally wanted to turn his head to the other side, pretending not to hear Nang Xiang's conversation with his father. But under Nang Xiangxi's eyes that gradually became serious. She still got off Nang Xiangxi's back with an expressionless face. This is really. Yamada's father sighed when he saw his daughter, who was rebellious in front of him and his wife, yet so obedient under Nang Xiang's gaze. It seems that my daughter, who is always free and lawless, has really met someone she likes. I waited until my daughter had sorted out her somewhat messy skirt. Yamada's father continued, "Speaking of which, is this the first time Nango-kun and I have met?" "Ah, yes," Nang Xiangxi responded. "In my impression, apart from the simulation, it was indeed the first time Nang Xiang met Yamada's father. After all, the upper-class people running private hospitals are usually very busy. Please allow me to thank you here, Nang Xiang-kun." Yamada's father bowed slightly, "Thank you for the reminder. My reminder? Oh, that's it? Nang Xiangxi was confused at first, and then showed a look of surprise. He remembered. In the name of a spiritual medium, I made a special trip to remind Miss Yamada to pay attention to her father's body. After all, in the simulation, the other party unfortunately died of a hidden lung disease that was difficult to detect. And in reality, due to Nang Xiangxi's reminder, Yamada's father had been checked early and received treatment when his condition was not serious. Now that I think about it, Yamada's father's treatment should have ended. No wonder Miss Yamada said her father had a good impression of her. It turned out to be because of this. It's just a simple reminder. Uncle Yamada doesn't need to take it to heart. That may be the case for Nang Xiang-kun, but if timely diagnosis and treatment are not provided, the disease can become life-threatening in its later stages. Yamada's father shook his head. From this point of view, I also want to thank you very much. If you want to put it that way, you also helped me a lot with the orphanage. I haven't thanked you for that aspect yet. Nang Xiang smiled and shook hands with Yamada's father. Yamada's father was obviously highly educated. There is a certain amount of progress and retreat in speech and conversation. There is no hint of daughter control at all. But through simulation, Nang Xiangxi had already known how much Yamada's father in front of him and Yamada's mother, who did not appear, doted on his daughter. The gentle Yamada father in front of him is just a temporary illusion. So while thinking about his next words, he waited for Yamada's father's next words. Sure enough, after only a few words of discussion, Yamada's father turned around and said, "Liang Zhang, you should go home first. Your mother is very worried because you haven't come home. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My love simulation with them." Author, Chiu Dao Yu de Ziwei. Chapter 320. But, when? Don't worry, I'll just have a chat with Nang Xiang-kun. Not good. Ryo Yamada frowned at his father's words. I want to stay here. Liang Zhang. Yamada's father was helpless. Because of the pampering of himself and his wife, his daughter has always been like this. This makes them feel helpless sometimes. Fortunately, Nang Xiangxi, who was silent next to him, spoke up, "Liang, in this case, you should go back first. I will chat with my uncle for a while." Ryo Yamada. Standing under the street lamp, tilting his head and thinking for a while, Yamada Ryo nodded. If that's what she said, okay. She did not continue to insist on her opinion, and walked to her mansion with her bass guitar bag in hand. Looking at her retreating back, Yamada's father sighed a little. It seems that Ryo-chan really likes Nango-kun. Nang Xiang did not answer Yamada's father's words. Because from the other party's words, he not only heard a sigh, but also a sour feeling. Nang Xiang-kun probably doesn't know. Looking back, Yamada's father continued, "Liang Zhang is not someone who listens to everyone, and she just reacted to what you said, which is really. Even at home he can't control his daughter. No, there are even times when he, as the daughter-in-law, is the one being manipulated by Yamada Ryo. Just thinking about this. Let's look at the completely different temperature difference between my daughter's view of herself and Nang Xiangxi." Yamada's father felt as if he had eaten a lemon. "My mouth is filled with a sour feeling, but I can't put it into words. But this is not the time." Yamada's father calmed down and then asked, "Nango-kun, can you tell me about your experience in coming to Tokyo?" "Actually, there's not much to say." Nang Xiangxi smiled. "Speak all the organized language. It was nothing more than going to Beijing from the countryside, and meeting Ryo Yamada and others in the process. That's not what I want to know." Yamada's father waved his hand. "What I'm curious about is that Ryo-chan mentioned Nango-kun's results before. You seem to have won the first place in the national simulation test." That's what happened. This is really. Yamada's father nodded, somewhat satisfied. Ranked first in the national simulation test. Even if his family background in Nangxiang was average, he basically didn't have to worry about anything. With such a level, not to mention that he has always ranked first in simulation in the country, it is not a problem to be admitted to the University of Tokyo. When Nangxiang graduates from college and enters the society, he will use his many years of running private hospitals to arrange a good position for him, and then promote him when he matures. When he and his daughter had a child in Nangxiang, he would find an opportunity to hand over the hospital to her, while he and his wife would leave part of their assets to take care of their grandson. This life simply shouldn't be too perfect. In addition, it was the first time I met and had first contact with Nangxiang. He was already very satisfied with the other party's excellent communication skills and ability to observe people's emotions. But this is just the temporary thought of Yamada's father. After all, it is still unknown whether the other party can reach the end with his daughter. So he smiled and said simply, I already understand the specific things. Nangxiang-kun is indeed outstanding. I can more or less understand the reason why Liang Zhang chose you, and as for the two of you, as an elder, I am not willing to interfere more. I only have one request. I hope Nangxiang-kun won't let Liang Zhang down and don't make her sad. Yamada's father held out a finger. This request is so normal. It is estimated that every parent will ask for it for the sake of their children. This is definitely not an excessive request for Yamada's father. Nangxiang naturally did not hesitate and nodded very simply, I understand. Good. When Yamada's father looked Nangxiang up and down, looking at the other's handsome appearance, he couldn't help but stretched out his hand and patted his shoulder, come here earlier next time, and let Liang Jiang's mother look at you too. If there is a chance. Nangxiang smiled and nodded. It seemed that the previous reminder to Yamada Ryo had an effect. Yamada's father's first impression of him was very good. If you follow the process in the simulation, Yamada's father should allow him to date Ryo Yamada only after he is admitted to the University of Tokyo. I chatted with Yamada's father for a few more words. Nangxiang was finally able to escape. Looking back on what happened today, Nangxiang just felt that it was a series of twists and turns. But at least I managed to get through it. Declining Yamada's father's suggestion to give him a ride in the car, Nango walked alone on the streets of Shimokitazawa and stretched. Futabariyo's simulation also ended. Next words. It's the 10th Generation Music Festival and the preparations for entering the senior year of high school to prepare for college entrance exams, right? When I entered my senior year of high school, there was no pressure in Nangxiang. In the simulated memory, I have taken the Dongda test papers countless times. I remember the above test questions by heart when I was in Nangxiang. If Ichiri Goto, Ryo Yamada and other girls really can't get into excellent universities, Nangxiang immediately wanted to give them the answers to the Dongda examination questions. Anyway, cheating methods are useless, and they are useless if you don't use them. It's a pity that in the simulated memory, apart from the things you have experienced, you can't know other things, such as football and Mark 6 lottery. After all, there was no habit of gambling or Mark 6 lottery in Nangxiang. Otherwise he can start enjoying life from now on. The time for sighing is over. Nangxiang shook his head and focused on the 10th Generation Music Festival. This is what he should pay attention to now. If possible, he would also like to be like some copycats and male protagonists who know the plot, and use their ability to predict the situation directly to pull the girls who ended the band into an invincible position. But the 10th Generation Music Festival is another product of the butterfly effect. Nangxiang sighed a little. He remembers the closing band in the simulation playing a music festival. But that music festival performance, Nangxiang clearly remembers it, was not the 10th Generation Music Festival today. In other words, Nang Xiangxi had no impression at all of the music competition held by the young people between the ages of 10 and 20 before him. It's better to believe them here. Nan Xiangxi shook his head and did not continue to dwell on this issue. Nang Xiangxi would naturally do anything that could help end the band. And similarly, he also has great faith in the girls who ended the band. Then, the music festival has been decided for the time being. The next step is. Nan Xiangxi groaned, stretched out his finger, and brought up the simulation page. Under his gaze. A few days ago, there was still some lack of heartbeat value. Now it has arrived. 1660 o'clock. Looking at this heartbeat value, which can be said to be terrifying in every sense of the word, Nan Xiangxi felt particularly calm. On the contrary, he even felt that it was too low. You must know that you have done it once with Miss Goto. And just now, I had a series of heart-pounding moments with Miss Yamada. On weekdays, he never forgets to tease the science girl Fudabario and the rich young lady Shinjo Akane. Of course, he has not forgotten Nishiki Chisuke and Inu Takina, and occasionally he will work part-time as chef. A heartbeat value of 1660 points. To be honest, it's not too high. But it can't be said to be too low. But Nang Xiangxi can probably understand. Because his relationship with the girls gradually became closer. This leads to the fact that just touching the palm of the hand can increase the heartbeat value. Now that the relationship has become closer, it may even be necessary to hold hands or even kiss. Nang Xiangxi was very confused about this. On the one hand, it is really good to get closer to the girls. But on the other hand, the growth rate of heartbeat value has slowed down, which is a bit helpless. Let's take a step and see. Although he was entangled, Nang Xiangxi did not continue to care. He closed the simulator page and walked to the Stars exhibition hall. In Shinjuku, Tokyo, at an exhibition hall called Shinjuku Fold, some people are actually more confused than they were in Nango. Sister Hiroi has been really weird lately. Atsuki Yuyuko, who made such a sound, raised her hand, her face full of tangle and pain. Recently, she often goes to a performance hall called Stars. Going to listen to a little-known group called the Ending Band plays. Doesn't that mean she doesn't love me anymore? Investigate. This is an abnormal situation, we must investigate thoroughly. Start with Twitter, YouTube and other channels. After making such a sound, Atsuki Yuyuko turned to look at the members of her band and issued an order. My love simulation with them. Author, Chiudeo Udazi. Chapter 321. Chapter 234. I don't like you. 4,000 words. More than one rock band is stationed and active in an exhibition hall. The same goes for Hiroi Kairi, an older sister who likes to get drunk and is often active in the Shinjuku FOT. As the lead singer and lead guitarist of a band also based in Shinjuku Fold, Yuyuko Atsuki can pat her chest and guarantee that the strength of their entire band is definitely one of the best among the younger generation in Shinjuku, and they even have the strength to hold independent performances. And she herself is Hiroi Kairi's #1 fan, and even calls Hiroi Kairi's sister in private. Therefore, she can be said to be very curious about all the behaviors of Hiroi Kuri. So, Sister Julie has been acting strange lately. After making such a sound, Atsuki Yuyuko gritted her teeth and continued to complain to her band members. She has stopped listening to our band's performances recently, and will even often sneak out to listen to the Ending Band's performances. Hey? Is there anything wrong with this? The person who made the sound was Fukumoto, the consonant guitarist of the band. She looked at her leader strangely, feeling that the other person was making a fuss. Hiroyuki Senpai also has his own music that he likes to listen to. Isn't this normal? Yes. On one side, the drummer Amy Hasegawa, who was flipping through her mobile phone and wearing a mask, also took over the conversation, and that person's drinking is very bad. Every time he comes to listen to our performance, he gets very drunk, and the other guests are all drunk. It's very troublesome. She couldn't forget that one time during their band's performance, Hiroi Kairi barged into the studio with a disbelieving step and vomited all over the floor, causing the originally lively fan atmosphere to become deserted in an instant. This is the cuteness of Sister Kairi. Why don't you understand? Atsuki Yuyuko was denied by her band members and was speechless for a moment, but she soon spoke again. No, I think it would be hard for us to understand. No, don't talk back. I'm the leader of the band. Atsuki Yuyuko became angry with shame. It's the same thing again. All the band members present thought so as they looked at Atsuki Yuyuko with her hair blowing up like a kitten. The band members have actually long been accustomed to their leader's explosive personality. But this is also the cuteness of Atsuki Yuyuko, so everyone present had an extremely doting attitude towards her and did not continue to refute. And watched them fall into silence. Atsuki Yuyuko, who was angry just now, showed a satisfied smile. She patted the table. Anyway, Sister Julie's relationship with our band is obviously so good. Don't you feel ashamed that your attention has been taken away by an unknown band? Specifically, how does it show that Hiroi Senpai has a good relationship with our band? Someone below raised a hand. Humph. Maybe you don't know. Atsuki Yuyuko said proudly, Sister Kairi often comes to my house to borrow the bathroom to take a bath. Fingers extended. Not only that, Sister Julie often asks me to borrow money and asks me to treat her to dinner. Isn't this proof of a good relationship? No. The band members below opened their mouths and couldn't help but glance at their leader. They just felt that their team leader was simply treated as a long-term meal ticket, and it was also bundled. The key is that Atsuki Yuyuko in front of her still looks serious. Really? How can there be such a gentle person like Sister Julie in this world? I want to ask, that gentle person, how much money did you borrow, Yuyuko-senpai? Huh? It's not much. I owed only about 150,000 yen last month. You were definitely treated as a fat sheep and slaughtered, right? Seeing Yuyuko Atsuki speaking with a confident expression, the expressions of the band members present were frozen. Isn't 150,000 yen a lot? I usually borrow the bathroom to treat me to dinner. The band members below looked at each other, and they all lamented that luckily their relationship with Hiroi Kairi was just average. Otherwise, if I get entangled with such a big sister, I might go bankrupt on the spot. In any case, we must investigate. I must know the origins of that ending band. Atsuki Yuyuko coughed slightly and straightened her expression. Then she laughed twice as if she was contradicting herself, and waved her hands as if she didn't care. However, I think the number of fans for a band that is not famous at all must be just that. There is no way it can match our Cideros, name of the band, ... That's right. Not any band can beat their band. In just 1 year, it has gained recognition from most of the younger generation with its strong strength. An independent heavy metal band that even has over 10,000 fans online. This is Atsuki Yuyuko's confidence. She had never heard of something like the End Band, and it even had some rustic band names. She doesn't think that the other party has the strength to defeat her own band. For an independent band, the number of fans is its fighting power. Atsuki Yuyuko looked serious. This man is saying weird things again. The band members present looked at Atsuki Yuyuko, and for a moment they didn't know how to complain about each other. Although part of what the other party said is true. But there are also many excellent independent bands that are just starting out, so the number of fans of the band is not particularly large. It is not possible to generalize on this issue. Fortunately, at this time, Hasegawa Amy, who was wearing a mask, raised her head. I found the information about the band that ended. Just like us, they also have an operating account on SNS, Japanese social network platform. Show me. Without hesitation, he took Hasegawa Amy's mobile phone into his hand. All the members present looked over curiously. Then, isn't this a beauty and food blogger? Seeing the beauty and food updates filling the screen, Atsuki Yuyuko threw Hasegawa Amy's phone directly on the sofa. Is this band really serious about their activities? Ignoring Hasegawa Amy's exclamation of "Ah, my phone," Atsuki Yuyuko was really confused. How did Hiroi Kairi get attracted to a band with only 50 or 60 fans on SNS? And it's too perfunctory to end the band, right? Since it's a rock band, let's look like a rock band. Why are all the updated dynamic contents about makeup, beauty, and food? Is it possible that for Hiroi Kairi, her band's performance is not as good as a beauty and food band? She couldn't understand. I even have the urge to update the food and beauty video on my band's operating account tomorrow. Just when Atsuki Yuyuko was filled with wonder and couldn't understand. Next to you, Uchida Yuyo made an expression as if he had discovered something. Ah, the ending band also has an account on YouTube. After all, it's another makeup video, right? There were impatient words on her lips, but Atsuki Yuyuko still stretched her head and took a look honestly. Ending the band's YouTube account layout is very simple. Just a simple end band ID name, no avatar uploaded. In the submission column below, there are only 3 videos. Beyond that there is nothing. The empty page looks a little lonely. Humph, is this the only level? There are only 3 videos submitted. How can it be possible that this level can be compared to our Cidaros? As Atsuki Yuyuko spoke, she raised her gaze and glanced at the number of fans who had closed the band's YouTube account. Then, Gudu. 60,000 fans. The girl's beautiful lips opened slightly, her red eyes widened, and the sound of swallowing saliva could be heard clearly. 60,000 fans. The huge number of fans is more than enough to fit into the 55,000-seat Tokyo Dome. The number of fans doesn't mean anything. As musicians, we should compete with each other through performances. Isn't it what you said before, Atsuki-senpai, that the number of fans is the strength of a band? Hey, what a shame. Isn't there a video of the outdoor performance here? Just listen to it and you will know the strength of the band. Atsuki Yuyuko gritted her teeth. 10,000 fans is obviously a lot. And what's going on with this ending band? How did you get 60,000 followers by only submitting 3 videos? Is the content that high quality? She couldn't help but reach out and click on the video posted by End the Band. Then, isn't this song too strong? Listen well. The style of music is so mature, I feel like I am no match for you. The boy standing on the stage is so handsome. What is his name? Nangxiangshi. The members of Cidaros exclaimed in surprise after watching the video of the outdoor performance. It's obviously just an ordinary guitar performance. But there is a kind of magic that can completely pull people into the world of music. The first half of the song is so depressing that it makes one feel lonely and helpless. But the music style in the second half suddenly became more exciting. The heart beats for it.